Hi, I'm Louis. I'm head of acquisitions at my art broker, and today we'll be talking about Jean-Michel Basquiat. So, if you're thinking about either buying or selling a Jean-Michel Basquiat print, here are a few things that you might want to keep in mind. He was born in 1960, and he passed prematurely at the age of 28 years old in 1988. His career impacted arts and culture for decades to come. He was good friends with Andy Warhol, with Keith Haring, and they inspired one another, collaborated together, and today demand for his prints and his original artworks keep on soaring, which is absolutely stupendous. So there are two types of Jean-Michel Basquiat prints. There are the prints that were produced during his lifetime, and there are the prints that were produced posthumously. Those prints are published by the Jean-Michel Basquiat estate. And there are a number of things to bear in mind when acquiring a Jean-Michel Basquiat print. So those that were produced during his lifetime are generally signed and dated in pencil by the hand of the artist. They are rarer and therefore more valuable. Now, for prints that were published posthumously, they're obviously not signed by the artist. Generally, they will be stamped on the back by the estate. Now, some of them come with a certificate of authenticity, but not all of them. So, whether you have a print that was published during the lifetime of the artist or posthumously, it's very important that you keep all paperwork associated to it. Things like proof of purchase, provenance information, as in where did you acquire it, who did it belong to prior to you, things like that. If you don't have any paperwork, it's very important that you go speak to a specialist who will be able to authenticate the work for you and who might be able to provide you with some paperwork. A number of factors contribute to the value of a Jean-Michel Basquiat print. Once again, when the print was published, whether it was during his lifetime or posthumously, whether it's a large edition number or a smaller edition number, whether it is a regular edition or an artist proof, a trial proof, etc., whether it is a singular print or whether it is a complete portfolio. So an example of a complete set would be Anatomy, which is a set of 18 prints. And those are very hard to come across, to have a complete set with matching edition numbers. So naturally, it is that rarity that makes them so valuable.
Well, also see another trick, or I should say tricky aspect to authenticating Basquiat, is that he did a lot of cash and carry business from the studio. And the problem there is he didn't keep records. It's not like you go, oh, Jean-Michel, can I come over? Can I buy a painting? You actually had to know someone who was part of his inner circle to get to the studio. So people would go to his studio and they'd bring cash with them. I mean, it's not like, you wrote a check to Jean-Michel Basquiat, $30,000. He wanted $100 bills. And it's just how business was done back then. And it's not like he produced an invoice for you on his stationery. It just wasn't like that. So people did end up with Basquiats without gallery invoices, without an invoice from the auction houses, without, gallery labels on the backs of frames and canvases. There's a lot of stuff out there that's real that there just wasn't a lot of paperwork on. Then you got into another level of that game where Basquiat had a fair number of girlfriends. I was in a situation once where someone hired me and she claimed to be one of his girlfriends. And she gave me her name. And I was able to check it out. There's an excellent Basquiat biography by a woman named Phoebe Hoban, Hoban. I think it's called A Quick Killing in Art. Terrific. And sure enough, this woman's mentioned in this. And this is how you build credibility for a provenance. It's like, wow, she did exist. She was part of his inner circle. He really did. He really was involved with this person. And then you look at the piece and you look at the signature, it all looks right. So, of course, though, he gave it to her as a gift, and no paperwork, no documentation. What do you do?
So Jean-Michel Basquiat prints that were printed during his lifetime were produced on Arches paper. A number of other great artists, including Andy Warhol, also privileged the use of Arches paper. It is quite a strong, sturdy paper, and generally the conservation of that paper is actually rather good. However, it's paper, and paper lives and breathes, and so naturally a number of condition issues can occur. If the print in question has not been well preserved, you unfortunately might come across water damage, humidity-related damage. There can be some undulation, there can be some foxing, there can be molding, or just regular wear and tear. Prints published posthumously were published on Saunders paper. Now, that's also quite a resistant type of paper. However, once again, it is paper, and so it has to be well looked after in order to stay in excellent condition. So if you do notice any condition issues, it's very, very important to go speak with a restorer who might be able to offer a number of treatment options and to make your print look as good as new.
You have to decide as a collector, do you want to live with something? If these new, large, colorful prints turn you on, if they make you smile, if you want to wake up in the morning and see one hanging on your wall and say, wow, I've got a Basquiat, well, then it's a good thing. I mean, it does have the feel of Basquiat's work. It does have that vibe. They're beautiful. I mean, these are great, great prints. But on the other hand, if you are more of a traditionalist and you feel like, well, they're posthumous, Basquiat didn't authorize them. He didn't make them. He had nothing to do with them. He didn't sign it. They're stamped, I think, on the back, approved by the family, the estate. Well, that's a whole different thing. Then my advice is you stick with the ones done by New City Editions, which were lifetime prints. So, it's a tricky argument.
When selling a Jean-Michel Basquiat print, timing is everything. It's very important to keep track of how his pieces have been doing at auction. So have a look at auction results and make sure that when a record-breaking auction results is announced, that you go speak with your broker because your prints just might have gained in value exponentially. It's also very important to keep in mind landmark anniversaries or also blockbuster exhibitions. I mean, whenever a major exhibition tours and gathers a lot of enthusiasm and excitement from collectors, that might be a good time to have your artwork appraised. Let's bear in mind the fact that a lot of auction records for Jean-Michel Basquiat occurred between 2017 and 2018 when he had his landmark exhibition that toured in New York, in London, and many other capitals. You can ensure the best condition of your prints before selling it by, for example, framing it, by having it placed behind UV protected glass. You can keep it away from direct sunlight. You can make sure that it is hung on a wall in a room that is protected from humidity or, for example, sources of water, things like that. So much of Jean-Michel Basquiat's social commentary is still so poignant and relevant today. Demand for his prints is constantly increasing, and so is value. If you're looking to buy or sell a Jean-Michel Basquiat prints, this year might be the year for you.